Hey guys, Greg from Clearwater 124. And take a look at this hot rod that I got in that batch buy a few weeks ago. Pretty ingenious, I thought, the way the guy built a slot car out of this. He used the whole model frame and everything. Added a piece of wood here with the guide. It's got a polarity switch. Little brass plate here to hold the motor. That looks like that's glued in. Very interesting how he built it. But anyway, I'm going to tear it apart. I don't know if you remember, but I built a 29 Ford pickup a few months ago. This one. It appears that this is probably the same type of body but chopped to be a hot rod. This one. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear this apart, and Harry at Home Racing World is having a jalopy series this summer. I may use, and it's no fender. It says no fender jalopies. So I think I'll just tear this whole thing apart and use from here back without the fenders and build a chassis for it. I think that's what I'll do. This is really ingenious how this is built. And he actually used the model, let's see that spinning, the model suspension and axle, which is cool. So anyway, let's see if we can take this apart. One thing this batch has given me is we got a chassis here and some extra brass and a piece of brass plate. I got wheels, tires, axles. A lot of these cars that I'm not going to use, I'm getting a lot of spare parts out of. So my parts bin will be filling up. I did a little test video today for live. I'm thinking about doing a live on Wednesday evenings, but I couldn't get my camera to switch. I only do the one camera, this one, so I have to solve that issue. And then maybe I'll try a live a couple of nights and see what kind of response I get. I don't know specifically what it will be, but I thought it would be maybe do Wednesday workbench type of thing, where I work on something like this. Oh, that's tight. What's going on here? Here we go. We work on something like this, or maybe run some laps, or just take questions, or just bullshit. You know, just talk with everybody if there's any interest. So I might try that once I get the camera situation figured out. I'd like to be able to, I have 3 cameras now. I have my track cam, this one, and regular video cam. I would really like to be able to toggle between cameras. There's a piece off of something. I don't know what that's from. So we'll set that aside. trying to find out who built these cars because man, I'll tell you what, he had some really neat ideas. This is a cool setup here for this rear axle. It's all plastic, part of the model. Really cool. Yeah, and you can see he's glued the original rear end back here for like a bumper, like a chrome rear bumper. That's the original rear end of the model. Neat stuff. These models, like that 29.4 when I built that, the yellow one I showed you, they're very fragile models. Like if I'm going to build something to send to Harry's to compete, I'll probably need a fresh tube of that 6,000 glue because you really have to reinforce the cars. And these cars, like I said, are very fragile. And this is the second motor that I've taken out of these cars. The other one I didn't think to save, I just threw it away. This one I'm going to save because they do run. I want to see what kind of motor it is. Oh, it's an H&R motor. 18,000 RPM H&R. Yeah, same as just hooked up this polarity switch here, which I will not use. It's a 1/8 axle. I have to go outside to the toolbox to find something to fit these, I think. I don't think anything I've got in here is gonna fit them. Nope. It's actually a square. That the guide's drilled out. Look at that. I don't know if that's a stock kind of guide or if the guy drilled that out. He had drilled out some Carrera chassis, which had about 40 holes in the Carrera chassis at Mercedes that I forwarded on to Mike at Big Oak. I think he kept one of those and I took one, but I didn't like that, so we did a little swap. Alright, I'm going to pause this. I'm going to go out to the shed and grab a couple more tools. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back with some more weapons. I don't keep all my tools in here because I do my chassis builds outside, so I don't like to solder in the house, so I don't keep all my tools in here. Most of my building with stuff like this, putting in motors and putting guides on, is done outside. But I might not have one small enough. If not, then we'll have to get creative. Hmm. You know what they say? If it works, is it wrong? I think not. I had this little shot glass I set aside here. Most of these parts are from this model. The windshield frame is there. The rear, something else is there. A couple of bumpers. We'll see what of that. But you can see it's all fragile stuff. You know, if you got that on a slot car and running around the track, there'll be some litter following the race. One of the things with building hard body cars, and anybody that's not done any modeling, after a few years, the glue hardens and gets brittle, and stuff just starts falling off. You know, if you use like regular model glue. So all of my slot cars, when I'm pretty much done, got the paint and everything, and I've got it, I go to the underside with that something 6,000 glue or a 2-part epoxy and lather the crap out of it, because that really makes things hold, your bumpers and your grills and all that, and it makes it more structurally sound, and it lasts. It's not like using testers or Tamiya glues, model glues. They just don't hold up over time. All right, we'll get those out. Can discard those because I don't even have a tool for them, so we'll just throw them away. And then I won't be wondering what they're for. I have so many projects now. Take those back out when I go for another refreshment. Let's get these off of here. Put these motor screws in. Yeah, this is a H&R Racing Hawk motor, 1800 RPM. I think that says made in China. Can't read it. Let's try this. That's what it says, made in China. All right, let's put these motor screws back in. Now here's an example. This motor that I'm going to save may never get used, but then again it might. I always save the parts. You never know. Something breaks, you need something to fix it with. You got something. Like the motor that I threw away, I pulled the pinion off and saved it. Okay, I'm getting quite a collection of parts here. Yeah, the other exhaust tip is in the shot glass up there already. All right, I'm going to save this. I like how we did that too. I'm going to save that because I will use that again for sure. All the cars that he built, he put the polarity switches in. So I'm guessing he ran on a wood routed track so they can run both directions without a digital switch. Or he could have run on a plastic track without digital switches too, I suppose. So, but the way the cars are set up, these NASCARs, with the type of tires and the way they're set up, I would bet that he was running on probably a wood routed oval would be my guess. Okay, we'll save that. Now here's where I have to be careful because I don't want to damage the body, the motor. So we'll just do a little surgery a little bit at a time here. But I'd like to save these if I can. It's going to be hard. There's the brass motor mount that he used, and that was just glued in between the rear deck of the bed and these frame rails. Look at that. That's really cool. He had to make that. The guy is clearly a much more advanced modeler than I am. But that's why I got this stuff, because I wanted to see how other people do things and learn from it. That's a switch. Oh, look at that. That might work. So there's two little points right there. I think I'm going to have to break that. I think I can get that off. Yep, maybe not. There we go. This is the part I'm going to use. That's the rear end that he had glued on as a bumper. Alright, that's what I want. Let me get my end back here. So, that's what we'll have. This will go on there with the windshield. Interesting. I'm going to want the grill and the motor. Think about how I want to take this out because I'm going to have to mount this in the brass chassis somehow. So we'll have to think about, do I want to leave that attached to part of this plastic chassis, or do I want to worry about mounting it to the brass? We'll have to give that some thought. Here's the grill. Yeah, you clearly use some two-part epoxy in certain places, for sure. Those are just the model wheels. Another thing I'm going to have to find a solution for is a way to mount headlights on the brass chassis, because I won't have these fenders. I want to save this motor and be able to add some headers and a air cleaner to it. It's already got a belt, fan. What I'll probably do is take some sandpaper to this. Maybe I'll dip it. Maybe I'll do an alcohol bath and just start over again. I was thinking I might just do some sandpaper and then a little light coat of primer, gray primer or red oxide primer, and then a light coat of some other color, and then sand through to the primer so it looks like a jalopy, like the early hot rods that's what they call them, jalopies. They took things off of cars and didn't put them back on and spent as little money as possible. Made them light so they would be faster. There's a few of those old movies around. Not too many. Most of them aren't any good anyways. You watch 20 minutes and you know what the story is. Mr. Gasket Company Performance Group. This is a Conoco. This is no fear decal on the door. Alright. Well, that's where we are, and that's my plan, and we'll see how we go with this. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.